Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of parent functions. This is standard A.7C in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 28 of the 2021 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. So the graph of f of x equals x squared is reflected over the x-axis and stretched. Alright, so we need to find which of these can represent g. Well, we need to know what f of x equals x squared equals. So if you don't know what that looks like, you can go ahead and open up your calculator and just plug that in real quick. Right, you would just use the y equals feature, and you just say y equals x squared. Most of us have worked with it long enough to know that it's just going to sit, or it's going to sit vertically facing up rather than vertically facing down. It's going to be about normal width here, and it's going to have its vertex right there at the origin. So something along these lines right here. It's going to have perfect symmetry with the y-axis, and like I said, it's going to have its one solution is going to be 0, and it's going to be having that vertex right there at the origin. So that's the y equals x squared, or f of x equals x squared. So we're going to change that to this g here. First off, it's going to be reflected over the x-axis, so the x-axis being right here. So how do we reflect something over the x-axis? Well, it has to do with the a's. So if you're thinking like this, y equals a x squared, so that a, that coefficient that multiplies by the x squared, that is a common way to transform our graphs. And so if a is greater than 1, then it's going to narrow. So if it's greater than 1, it's going to narrow. If a happens to be less than 1 but still greater than 0, so between that 0 and 1, it's going to widen. But then something happens when you make it negative. So if a is less than 0 but still greater than -1, it's going to flip or reflect, and it's going to widen, just like it did here in the 0 and the 1. And if it's a is less than -1, then it's going to flip or reflect, however you want to say it, and it's going to narrow. So there's some symmetry here between whether it's greater than 1, it's going to narrow facing up, less than -1, it's going to narrow facing down. So if we are wanting it to face down here, then we would need an a that is less than 0. And if we want it to stretch or widen, then the a is most likely here going to be between 0 and -1. So it could be something like y equals -0.5 x squared. That would get us a flip and a widen. And as we see here, this f right here looks like it just widens. So this might be kind of what we're looking for this f. I would say this is y equals, this is going to stretch, so maybe 0.5 x squared. So the a is just 0.5. This g here is going to flip, which is what we want. It's very good, but it's maybe -2x squared. It narrows, so it's less than -1. This is maybe y equals 2x squared because it stays upright and it narrows. J is what we're looking for. J is going to be flipped upside down, so it's less than 0, but it's not less than -1, so maybe 0.5. So J is what we're looking for because it is stretched or widened and reflected or flipped over the x-axis.